Today we're going to demonstrate how to create a custom manual template for this bud box large box. The first thing we need to do is create some measurements. Just grab a piece of paper. Let's start with an easy side. Start with this bottom side. We're going to take some measurements. I've got, this is a millimeter ruler, 230 along the top. Let's say it's 225 around the bottom. The side is 110. And then we're just going to do that for every single side. And then we've got to do this one with the hinges. So we know that this is going to be same 30, 105, 5. But then we've got these little hinges. So the hinges themselves are about 45, and they drop down about, let's just say 30. And from the edge, it looks like they're about 15. And then in the middle, just for the sake of completeness, let's say 210. And then those are our measurements. So next we're just gonna take that over to our computer and we're gonna enter this into the Jdeation Designer. Okay, now that we have our measurements, we need to get the design template. So we're gonna come over here to My Jdeation and go to My Base Designs. And we just need a template, so we're going to create a new design, but we're not going to fill any of this out yet because we're going to have to come back to that later. But down here in the manual section, because we're going to be doing a manual design, there's a big link that says download the instruction manual. So we're going to click that, and then we are going to go into Inkscape because that is the only program that we have tested with the Jdeation Designer. Others may work, but if you do try to use another program, make sure you check your scale. So we're going to go into Inkscape and we're going to open up this instruction manual. Okay, so I have the instruction template open in Inkscape now. Inkscape is a free program. You can download it. Go to Google and type in Inkscape. It's a decent program. It is the one that we use with the Jdeation Designer. So if you're not going to use Inkscape, kind of use at your own risk at this point, but you might be able to make it work. Anyways, you want to make sure you read through the instructions here. There's some really key ones, like the only two colors allowed are red and black, and very specific on the hex values, and objects need to be converted to path and things like that. Really important, but I'm going to walk you through all that stuff in here in a second. You know, other interesting things here, some easy common connectors to make your component work faster. These are hole sizes that we use. And then I got an example component and example design. But really, so the first thing that we need to do to get started is we're going to actually make our design in this SVG itself, because this SVG is already scaled to get imported back in. So really the first thing we want to do is just kind of take all this and just kind of move it out of the way. Okay, so I've moved everything off to the side here, and so then I am going to go ahead and create my first side. So the way I like to do it is just create a quick box first, and then you can actually size that box to the general dimensions you're looking for. So we said it was 230 by 105. So that's the general dimensions, but if you remember, our top and our bottom were not exactly the same size. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this tool here, and then I'm just gonna start and draw this. And if you remember, like, I'm just gonna draw it down to here. So now I've created the general dimensions, and I've got the same size. And then I can come over here to the path tool on this, and I can space this out so it's the right size. And then I'm gonna delete. And so then this should be the general size, but I need to take let's just take some measurements. So that says it's 217, so that's not quite big enough. Also, you can do some stuff with Inkscape like this. $220, so it still is. This is probably unnecessary. This is just me being anal. All right. Okay, so this is the side. So we're gonna have two of these, because we've got two sides. So we're just going to position them on the screen like this. And then we've got the super wide. So next I'm going to create the long side. So I'm just going to create a copy of this. And you'll notice again, I'm doing all this in black on the outside. And so this one was 330. So there sure that's that. Again, let's measure the bottom was supposed to be 325. I think it will be fine. 323.4, that's close enough. So this is going to be one of my sides. Then I'm going to create another one of these. This one is going to be with the hinges. So now I need to create the hinges. And so what I'm going to do here is just create the little hinges with a red. Actually, I guess, you know what, I could create. I'm going to create the path. So create some new paths along here. And we're just, again, going to get them in the general direction for now. These are our little hinge spots. So again, this is using the path tool. It's very powerful. So that looks generally like what I'm looking for. And so then I'm going to go in here and take some measurements. The total length of this was about 45. So that's not big enough yet. Why don't I just do this? I'm going to convert that to an item for a second. So it'll stay on the screen. So then I'm going to move this one to about the right length. And move this one to, again, the other way you could do this, right? Is you could just use a square box and make that square box exactly the right size. In fact, let's just do that for the sake of, we know that these things are supposed to be 45 by 30. So we're just going to dump that there. Get rid of this real quick. That's much easier. And then I'm going to do that over here too. And then we know that it was 15 millimeters from the side over here. So I'm just, for the sake of, again, this is like my cheapo measuring tape here. So let's move this. We need to get this sucker lined up to 15 first. Alright, I think that's generally it. And so now we have the 4 outlines, and then we're going to just add some markings to tell people what these things are. So that we do that with the text tool. Before we do that, let's just go ahead and get these aligned where we want them. Alright, so now we're going to add some text just so people know what these things are. Remember, all other markings other than the black outside and any holes need to be done in red. So also, let's just check and make sure this is full black. So we select this, and over here on the stroke color you can see the RGB, that is full black. If you remember the instructions right here, black line 0000FF, and that's what we have right there. So that's good. Remember, it has to be either only black or red are the only 2 colors allowed. So now let's insert some text. I'm going to call it top. Okay, I'm going to make it much smaller than that. Let's make it 14. So again, let's select these. Object to path. Oh yeah, it did. So those are all now paths. So what else do we want to make? We probably want to name this overall thing so people know which box this is. So let's create and make that red. Again, only color we're allowed. Maybe it's a little big, so let's make it 24. And I think that's about it. Oh yeah, we also want to add a line to indicate from the bottom where the bottom plate is going to be, so people know not to. Let's just do this. That was terrible. Let's see here. All right. Then I'm going to make it again. It needs to be red. So I'm going to make this red, no fill. Stroke is red. And then I'm going to make it dashed. And so this needs to be like 15, I've measured this needs to be 15 millimeters from the bottom. So that's a little 2 millimeters too low. Again, the easiest way to do it, and this is what I normally do, is just create a box and make that box 15 millimeters tall. And then, you know, you can use that as a ruler. The ruler is one thing I have not learned very well on Inkscape. So we're gonna create, now I need to add a text to tell people what this line represents. So I'm going to say this is bottom plate, and that's going to be way too big. So let's change that to be 10. And again, fill needs to be totally red. So that looks pretty good. Let's convert this object to path. My little trusty ruler. Okay, I'm actually pretty happy with that. I think that's going to work. The one last thing that I like to do on mine, and this is to ensure that when people move it to their Cricut, actually before we do anything, let's make the document properties, and we need to make the canvas actually fit. So let's say it's 335, and this will be, let's just 450, we're just estimating here. Yeah, let's shrink it down a little bit more. That's pretty good. And then over there, that's pretty good. Actually, I'm going to make the width because I'm going to add a marker. So one thing I like to do is, this is useful. Alright, so that's pretty good. And what I'm going to do is mark what that outside line is. So that outside line is this. Actually, let's make it 335 and 432. And then I'm going to indicate on here with another text box what the dimensions of this thing are. Object to path that, shrink in the document, and I think that's it. I think I'm happy with that. So we need to delete all this stuff over here. Again, remember to read the instructions, delete all that, and there you have it. We are done with that section. So now we're going to load this into the Jdeation Designer. Okay, so now I am going to upload my new design. I'm going to create a new base design. This is a front plate because this is a vinyl front plate design. And then I'm going to enter, this is a manual design because we did it in the Escape. And so we're going to upload what we just created. We do not need any mounting hardware because again, this is a vinyl base design. And that's it. So it looks like it uploaded perfectly. And now the fun part is we can actually use it. Now we will come back, we will want to validate this later after we print it. So let's go ahead and... So now that we've uploaded our design, we want to validate our design, and that just proves to the community that your design is valid. So we'll go over here to the validation window, and we want to download the validation PDF, and we want to open it. First we want to save it, and then we want to actually open it in Adobe, and it's important that you open it in Adobe so that you can actually print it to scale. So I'm going to show you, you come down here to print, and the key is you don't want to fit, you want to actually do, you want to do actual size. Actual size is critical if you don't do actual size, and because this thing is bigger than will fit on a single piece of paper, you want to do poster mark, and that's going to print, you can see 4 sections, and then I like to do cut marks because that's helpful. So then I want to print it to my printer out here in my workshop. Okay, so I got these off the printer, and you can see it just makes a little grid. And then, so all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to tape them together. So, but I've got to cut off the edge right there to line up these marks. So I'm just going to do it. Then I'll find the other side. And then you just got to do the same thing up here and here. And then once you tape this together, then you're just going to use scissors and you're going to cut out around this box. So I already have one that I have cut out. So this is it. And then you can see it actually looks perfect. But if it didn't, then this is where you would just kind of go back to your design. And then I'm going to get my camera. I'm going to take a picture of this, and then I'm going to upload it as proof that I have validated that this is a good base design. And now we're going to come back to our base design, and we're just going to go ahead and upload that image, the picture we took. So this is it. And then go ahead and save that. And then behind the scenes, somebody from Jdeation will approve this, and then you will have a validated design that you can share with other people in the Jdeation community. So hopefully this video helped. If you have any questions, just enter them down in the comments, and appreciate it.